Good evening. I'm Dante Washington, and I'm bringing to you my friend Drill Miller. What's up, bro? So, really, we're just gonna get right into it and just see how you've been doing over the Corona, with the pandemic going on and that such, man. Um, let's get right into it. So, like, what different aspects of your life has been affected during this pandemic? Like, business wise, personal wise, and things like that.
Uh, for me personally, it's affected my business. I'm a small business owner. I was running two businesses, medical marijuana shop and a plumbing company. Both have been infected dramatically by the pandemic, uh, mostly because it's hard to get out,
Right,
especially in Southern California. It's very
right.
hard to get out and do business with the pandemic. But on top of that, there's a lot of people who don't have money right now. There's no money coming in, so we can't pay for our services. It's business is taking a really big hit.
I can imagine, man. So, like, with you being in the cannabis field, like, does that make your merch, like, you guys merchandise? Is it hard getting trucks, deliver your merch or like products or stuff like that? I can imagine that taking effect too.
Yeah, it's so the way you have some businesses that they grow their own, they make their own, they sell their own. For us, we were a new company, so we have to get ours from a third party. Usually buy in bulk. The problem is that the prices that were great back in January and February, they're relatively the same prices. It's just since our income isn't as good, we can't afford to buy as much, meaning that we can't provide as much to our customers that are able to purchase and want our services. Um, it's affecting it from the top to the bottom for us.
So, does that, like, have you had to lay anybody off because of this, or like, cut back on hours or things of that nature?
Yeah, man, I won't lie to you, man. So I started the business for a couple of reasons. First, because I love weed.
Oh,
California, it is what we do. But but I wanted to give a lot of my fellow veterans a shot, to make
right.
money. So I heard a lot of veterans, disabled veterans, women, minorities, a lot of people who get disenfranchised, to give them a fair shot. The problem is that since, like I said, nothing's really coming in, I've had to cut hours. I couldn't afford to pay people. A lot of times, instead of me kind of sitting back doing, my boss thing, doing the paperwork, getting everything organized, I've had to pretty much step up and do everything
Right.
just to make ends meet. Whereas before, I was able to have a whole team doing stuff for me, and they're great workers. It's just we can't afford to pay them right now, and it really sucks.
So, I'm glad you touched on hiring veterans, because that kind of segues me to the next question, man. Because you got kind of like, you're a business owner, but you also have another layer to you, which is you being a veteran who has service connected injuries. So, like, during that, has that made it hard for you? Like, to, I know you got to go to the VA, and like, has it made hard for like getting medications and stuff like that during this time?
Yeah, it hasn't been as hard as I don't think it's that simple, because the VA is doing a pretty good job, especially here in San Diego.
Right.
But the wait times are harder. It's harder to get seen for appointments more than anything
Mm,
because they're so backed up.
right.
Um, uh, you can still get your medications. For example, I had multiple appointments that I really needed for, especially my mental health, that had to get moved, rescheduled months later. And for me, it has it's affected me, but I've been able to progress because a lot of my stuff isn't as bad as my brothers and sisters who are in the service who have a lot worse conditions than I am, who need that psychiatric help almost on a weekly or daily basis. Now they have to wait monthly or even quarterly to get seen. It, it's pretty scary.
Imagine, man. So, with you saying that, is it harder to, I guess, cope with all that? With, I can imagine that weighing on you too. Does that like trigger any mental, disabilities that you might have?
For me, like, we can get personal on this. So for a while, I suffered from depression due to other things
Right.
during the service. Um, for a while, I was doing really good, and then when the pandemic hit, I felt like all the progress I made, to better myself, to get past my diagnosis, to get past the PTSD, to get past all that stuff, you know, I was doing so well, and then the pandemic kind of hit, and it brought everything back. I went from making good money and being out and be able to take care of my family, my friends, get people jobs, and do stuff for my community, to being locked in my house, being stuck in my own head, which I think a lot of people can relate to. It isn't always the
Right.
best place to be.
Right.
Yeah.
So being mental health is a big thing, um, especially as a veteran. What would you say was the hardest thing mentally that you had to endure during this time? Like as far as you know, not being able to see maybe a physician at the time you need to see them, um, interacting with people, just anything, man.
Man, good question. Really good question, man. So, for me, I'll be honest with you, man. It was it's from a mental health standpoint, it's been fairly difficult, man. People in general, I think, have a hard time asking for help.
Right.
Uh, Military, it's very hard to ask for help because I know you can relate to that.
Right.
Going to receive help is seen as a sign of weakness in the military.
Right.
It's something that we carry over with us as veterans, so it's even harder to ask for help. But with the VA having to deal with the COVID as well, and not being able to get seen, it's made it so much harder for those who need that help to go out and ask for help. Because, like I said, it's already seen as weak, and then to do it, then have to wait almost 6 months to get seen for something, man. It's awful.
And I couldn't imagine, man. That just like I keep reiterating, is weighing on you, and making things harder, man. But I appreciate your time, man, and just thank you for your service, bro. Thank you for your service, and I appreciate you, man. You're a good guy, man. A pillar of the community. I appreciate you taking the time out to help me with this, man. Um,
Yeah, I appreciate you. Thank you for having me, man.
all right,
Remember,
bro.
go Broncos.
Oh man, they suck. All right, bro.